Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World, where today we are taking a look at a new offering from Cjrb, and it is one that I've found to be very refreshing because so far this year, Cjrb's done really good at coming out with, again, like updated versions or fresh versions of something like the Pyrite or the Hectare. There's been a couple other new offerings here and there, but they've been kind of in that similar mold, and they're not exactly looking the exact same, but they're, like I said, kind of cut a little more from the same cloth. But this one here is very fresh, very different. I am enjoying it. This is none other than the Cjrb version. Now, before I go any further into this review, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor. Hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length coming in at 6.3 inches, with a blade length coming in at 2.6 inches, and a blade thickness at 110 thousandths. Blade material on this guy is AR RPM 9, with a drop point style blade, a flat grind, a handle length coming in at 3.74 inches, and a handle thickness at a rather thin 395 thousandths. Handle material on this guy is a combination of G10 and aluminum, which I am really digging. Love that combo. We of course have a button lock for the locking mechanism, a user of a left or right hand tip up carry, designed by Jacob Lundquist. If you didn't catch that maker's mark back there, yes, this is a new Jacob Lundquist design, and like I said, I think this is a very good one. Coming in at a very nice and light 1.7 ounces, so it is extremely pocket friendly when you factor in the size and weight. And the price is also very friendly, $49.99 for this guy. So for 50 bucks, that's a pretty darn stinking good offering. Let's take a look at some size comparisons, see how it stacks up with, you know what, let's bring out an OG here. The Cjrb Rhea. When was the last time you had that in your pocket? As you can see, it is a little shorter than the Rhea, but really, all in all, not a bad comparison. Kind of that sleek type of appearance to both of these knives. And then we'll also bring out a couple Kaisers here. We have the Kaiser Mini Sheepdog, as well as the Kaiser Feist. If you like front flippers and you like the Feist, this has a very nice front flipper on it as well. And as you can see, pretty close in terms of size with these two. All of them on the smaller side of things. But then there's one knife that aesthetically and just kind of ergonomically, I tend to think of this knife when I think of the version. And it's this guy right here, the Cjrb Odium. Let's take a look at these two compared together. As a matter of fact, let's just put them right up here in the camera. There we go. Pretty, not like super similar as to where you get like any design inspiration from one or the other. These are both very different knives, but this is probably the closest I have in terms of a comparison. Big difference here is a front flipper versus a regular flipper on the Odium, and of course the front flipper on the version. So there you go. That's the best comparisons I can do for you. If that's not enough, then I don't know what I got for you. Let's talk about this knife here. This is a pretty sweet design from Jacob Lundquist. And Jacob does a really good job of keeping things unique, keeping things more on the Jacob Lundquist side of things and not everything else. This is just a really good looking blade. It's very sleek. What I like most about this design is just the overall flow. Now, when it's closed, it first, when I first unboxed this, when I pulled it out, my first thoughts was, little wonky in terms of just, the front flippers up here. There's a big area out here gone. Again, not a bad thing. It was just the first thing that came to mind was kind of the unevenness from left to right, the asymmetrical aspect of it when you're looking at it closed. But when you pop this thing open, boy, oh boy, does it look good. I mean, come on, this is one good, smooth design when this knife is open. I really dig that. And I really dig this blade. Nice and slicey, about 20 thousandths behind the edge, but a full flat grind and a thinner blade stock to begin with at 110 thousandths. That makes for a pretty nice EDC blade. I don't have any issues with the cutting performance of this knife, especially for, again, a $50 budget knife. It's very good and just very good looking and very good working. So the full flat grind, that really makes this one for me. The blade cutout here is very nice, and it's very easy to access. You can tell this was design. This had a lot of thought put into the design. This wasn't just something to where he kind of just drew it up and drew the hole, yada yada, and then, you know, kind of just sent it in and that was that. You know, you can tell there was a lot of thought here in terms of how big and accessible the hole was, how it looked open and closed. The blade cutout ties in very well to the design and makes it very, very easy to access that blade and kick it out. And the front flipper tab as well has some nice jimping in a good spot. That clip down there makes things nice and easy. So the blade works very well with the entire overall function of the knife, and that's what you have to have on a knife these days. Knives are too good nowadays. Even the Chinese budget knives, they're way, way, way too good to just slap something together and say it's going to work, because there's a lot of thought, a lot of detail that goes into things. And this one was crossed off pretty darn well. Now the handle on this guy is so nice. It even has, I'll bring that Odium out here again. It even has more room, and it feels a lot better than the Odium in hand. I used to think the Odium, you know, was one of the better small knives out there in terms of ergos, and it's still nice, but it's not this nice, because what you have here is, you know, you can kind of see the blade kind of sticking out on the handle here. You feel that in your finger. Now, this version here, you don't have that. You have a very, very, very comfy handle. And the way the knife sits in your hand, it's not like you have your thumb coming way up over the cutting path. It sits in your hand to a point to where there's a nice, the full portion of the sharpened edge is exposed and can be fully pushed through on a cut. So all that sharpened edge is very much usable, and you won't find yourself in any awkward situations when it comes to actually having to use all of that sharpened edge. That's very nice. Again, more details that go back to the overall thought process in this design. But the ergos really stand out on this knife. This is a small knife that was made for big hands. And what I mean by that is, if you have thick fingers, I mean, I don't really have thick fingers. I kind of have wide hands, but my fingers aren't exactly thick. I would say they're average, or maybe even a little on the skinnier side. But man, oh man, look at all the extra room I still have in that finger choil up there. And I even have a little real estate back here. This is a small knife that is really it's going to excel in smaller and medium-sized hands as well. But even someone with bigger, a little thicker, maybe chubbier hands, however you want to describe your hands, you're going to like this knife. If you want to check out a small knife and you don't want to carry something real big, this is going to be an excellent option for you. So keep that in mind. Definitely worth noting there, the wide finger choil, and just the overall ergonomic design of this handle is very favoring for all hands, but especially the bigger ones, especially when you compare it to other small knives, is what I should say. Most small knives are not going to feel very good in big hands. This one will. I can all but guarantee it, and looks good to boot. So really enjoy that. And like I said before, really enjoy this kind of inlay here with the G10 and the aluminum on the outside. Really, really nice. Love the green and black combo. That's really good. Nice lockup on the button lock. Very easy to deploy. Very easy to access. No issue there whatsoever. Of course, it's a lot easier to do some of this stuff when I'm not under a camera, but nonetheless, clip is good to go. Just your typical budget clip, nothing special there, but you can only expect so much on a $50 knife, right? But man, oh man, just look at this. This is one freaking good looking knife. Last aspect of this guy, the action, I've kind of already alluded to it. It's just really good. It's very solid. There's nothing wrong with it. Front flipping action is great. It is, of course, reach around approved, and the middle finger flicking is fantastic. So yeah, there's really nothing to knock on this knife. I mean, if you don't like the way it looks, you don't like the way it looks. There's nothing I can do about that, and there's nothing anyone can do about that. That's a complete personal preference. But in terms of a good-looking, affordable, great in the hand, ergonomic friendly budget knife with a unique design, again, like I said, what does this really remind you of? It's very much its own design. I really like that. Really solid offering. Really, really solid offering. No real issues. Really happy with this. Another great design from Jake Blomqvist, who continues to pump them out. So good job on this one, Jacob. And guys, let me know what you think of the Cjrb version. It is available now, and it is linked below. And I think this is probably going to be one of the more popular Cjrb knives, but Cjrb budget knives of the year, just because of that unique aspect, the good design, the good ergos, and the competitive price. I think this one's going to do well. Let me know what you guys think of the Cjrb version. Really hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.